Hello. Hey, I'm Mike Myone. I am your host on Trick or Treat, and I'm wearing this mask, not because I need one. I'm just here in my little studio all by myself, but because I wanted to show it off. This mask was made and sent to me by Janice, who was the owner and operator of the Snood Factory, and the Snood Factory makes dog apparel and accessories. And I hope that wasn't a I hope there wasn't anything meant by that, specifically for me. In any event, if you would like to, you need apparel for your dog, you should go to thesnoodfactory.com. Look at that. She put, see that? She made it for me with bow ties on it because I like bow ties. I wear bow ties quite a bit when I perform. So thank you, Janice. That was a wonderful gift. I appreciate it. Hey, welcome to Trick or Treat. We have a great show planned for you today. We have lots of silly stuff as we usually do at the beginning. A little bit of magic, a little bit of comedy, and we have a guest today that is really somewhat amazing. It's Jason Ladanye. Now, Jason is, one of the best. He is the best card magician I think that I have seen personally up close. He's just amazing, and I'm so thankful that he's agreed to join me today. So he's coming up a little bit later, but of course we always start our show with some silly stuff. So let's start with a little bit of this. Yes, we have Brain Candy. That's the work of Geoff Williams and Scott Franz, and they challenged themselves to do some magic with no camera effects and one shot all the way through, no editing. And let's see what they have for us today. All right, where did it go? I have no idea. That Geoff Williams, he's a crafty man. Hey, if you're just joining us, you're gonna love the interview we have today. We have Jason Ladanye coming up a little bit later. I know you're gonna enjoy that. If you're watching on YouTube and not on Facebook, well, I hope you'll give us a thumbs up. I hope you'll subscribe. We have a little, if you subscribe, you might win a prize. We'll tell you more about that later on. So stay tuned. Hey, it's time for a little bit of it's a little bit of sketch comedy from Monty and Walker. That's Chris Monty and Rich Walker. And Chris Monty, by the way, is going to be a guest here next month. He's a very funny comedian. Ooh. Both of them are. So, hey, let's take a look at this week's Monty Walker Minute.
Going into that house of sin?
No, I'm just going to have a drink.
You're going to be a lush, a drunk, a sinner? What would your parents think?
My parents are dead.
What about your health? You're going to be a lush, a drunk, a sinner with cirrhosis of the liver?
Sister, have you even ever had a drink?
Never.
What do you say I go inside, I'll get you one, I'll bring it out. If you don't like it, then you can judge.
No.
Come on. It'll do you good. It'll warm the soul.
Well, what would a lady have?
How about vodka?
Bring it out here to me. Tell the bartender to put it in a paper cup.
What can I get you?
Let me have a pint of Guinness and a vodka in a paper cup.
Is that bloody nun outside again?
They do make me laugh. Monty and Walker, they have a little show they put together, and if you want to see more Monty and Walker, well, of course, you can come back next week. I'll have a clip for you, but you can also go to their website, montywalker.com, montywalkerproductions.com. So go see them. They're funny guys. You're going to enjoy seeing that. And now it's time for everybody's favorite dead mentalist, Alexander, who's going to be brought to life by Joe Silkie. Are you ready? Here we go. Get ready to do some mentalism.
Greetings, friends. It is I, Alexander, the man who knows, here to take you on another trip to the world of extrasensory perception. In a moment, I'm going to show you 6 different playing cards, all of the same suit, but if each value is different. What I'm going to ask you to do is select one of those cards in your mind. That is going to be your primary card. Select your primary card now. Now what I want you to do is select a secondary card. The secondary card is the card that has the numerical value closest to your primary card. For instance, if you selected the 3, you would select the 2 as your secondary card. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make up a whole new card. You're going to take the numerical value of your primary card and add it to your secondary card. Remember, a jack's numerical value is 11 and a queen's value is 12. Now, if you end up with a number that's a 2-digit number, then you're going to add those 2 digits together. What you want to create is a new card that is a 1-digit number. Do that now. Concentrate on the new card that you've created. Remember, its suit is hearts. I am getting the impression that you have thought of the 5 of hearts. Thank you and have a nice day.
Did you get the 5 of hearts? I did. Hey, I hope you did. Hey, if you're just joining us, I want to say a shout out there to Martin Cox. Thanks for joining us, Martin. Good to see you as usual. We have a great show. We have Jason Ladanye on the show. He's coming up in a little bit. If you're watching on YouTube, do subscribe. Give us a little thumbs up. We would appreciate that. But now it's time for a regular feature of Trick or Treat.
Fact or fake news, fact or fake news, fact or fake news.
And today's fact or fake news statement. Card magician Darwin Ortiz dropped out of NYU Law School to pursue card magic full-time and supported himself for a time by playing blackjack using card counting techniques. Is that fact or fake news? If you think you know, well, tell us in the comments. At the end of the show, we'll let you know if that was fact or fake news. And if you get it right, you will get one of these super medals. Hey, that's something special, right? So is that fact or fake news? Stay tuned to find out. Hey, I think it's time for me to show you a little bit of my magic. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Hang around because in just a little while, we're going to have a special guest today, Jason Ladanye. Fantastic card magician. You're going to enjoy meeting him. But first... Yes, if you're contemplating, should we raise a family or should we maybe get a dog? Well, maybe these pictures will help you make up your mind. Yeah, these guys decided they would take the fire pit and make a mess. Oh, Mom's never going to get this room cleaned up, is she? Nope. Now, you gotta, oh my God, that's a gallon of white paint. They have it on the couch. They're completely covered. They have it on the TV. Ah! Yeah, maybe a dog. Maybe a dog. In spite of how much paint these guys got all over themselves, they are cute. They are cute. You like bubble baths? How about a whole bathroom full of bubbles? Flour. Oh, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? We'll just, look at that little guy. He looks like he's in prison stripes. That's an idea. Maybe better get a dog. Well, this kid, you like him, right? I think he's going to bring home a couple of germs. He does windows. Now, I don't know. I hope that's not the mom. I'm assuming it's big sister, who's just, oh boy. Okay. You want kids? Really? You want kids? Okay. How about this? Oh, she's covered with something white. Mama? I don't think Mama took a hug from her. Time for popcorn. Yeah. Okay. Well, all four of them got involved there. Look at that. Golly, I hope that wasn't Dad's cell phone. Hey, somebody's going to get the stuffing beat out of them, huh? What do you think? They just don't feed this kid enough. How do you like your peanut butter? I like mine on bread. Ooh, what a mess. Now this is a real reason why you want a dog, not a kid. My favorite. Time for a little buzz cut. Uh-oh. Oh no. I like this. Well, maybe I'll just pat it back down. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Hey, I am thrilled because right now it's time for us to bring out our guest, and we're going to bring him out with a little bit of an intro that we prepared from some clips. That's right. We have Jason Ladanye with us today. Hello, Jason. Oh, you're muted, I think. There you go.
Technical difficulties to start the morning. All right, Mike, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's great. That's great. Hey, of course, first off, welcome and thank you for coming to Trick or Treat. But you know that the name of our show is Trick or Treat. And do you know why that is, Jason?
I feel like I'm about to find out.
Yes, you are. Because we ask our guests to do a trick or deliver a treat. So unless you're going to be sending me some cookies, I hope you're going to do a trick for us today.
I will do a trick, and we'll start it out right now.
Okay.
It's just part of it, though.
All right. Okay. I'm going to give you the full screen here.
Oh no, there's not much to absorb. All I want you to notice is that there's a deck of cards on that table over there.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Talk about a deck of cards.
We'll get back to it later.
How many decks?
Not all those.
How many have you got there?
That is probably close to 3,000 decks of cards, and that's just the ones that are for daily use. And I have a bunch over here, and then a bunch of gross boxes down in the basement that I use. So in the house, there's probably about seven grand or so.
Oh my gosh. Now, when you do a show though, you use a whole. You don't use that deck again. Am I right?
If I get booked for a show, I will bring 24 decks of cards.
Oh my goodness.
Because I do usually the types of events that I do walk around first. So you get hired for a corporate event. They want you to do walk around from 6:15 to 7:15 or something. Then there's dinner and awards or something like that. And then you're the 20-minute show at the end.
Right.
So as I'm doing that walk around, I can perform for people, but I'm ruining at each group. The card gets folded, signed, torn, something, and the deck kind of dwindles down. By the time it hits 40 cards or so, it doesn't look like, no jokes about it, but it doesn't look like you're playing with a full deck. It's suspicious for you to walk up to a group and spread out 20 cards. So I feel like I perform with the deck until it gets noticeably too small, and then I either throw it out or give it as a gift. I finish the trick and say, "Here, keep these."
Right.
And then I keep going back to my gig bag and getting new decks. So I can ruin 15 decks before the show starts.
Right.
I do the show I've always done this as a souvenir, as a token of thank you for having me here. I let the spectators keep those decks, and it suggests that the decks are normal, and that's what I want the audience to know, because they are
normal. Yeah.
And I don't want anyone out there going, nice tricks he did, but he's probably got one of those TV trick decks of cards or something. So when you give it away, it disproves all that. There's kind of one more little punch at the end of the show. So there you go. 17, 18 decks.
Do you have a favorite brand?
Yeah, they're all bikes.
They're all bikes.
So
okay.
People talk about their deck collections, and they have 7,000 decks. They have like 2 or 3 of every deck ever made. I have 7,000 of the same deck.
The same deck.
And there is one shelf back there that's some of the cooler, rare things, and I mean, not rare prints like custom decks today. I mean rare, like a deck from early 1900s and things like that. So I have fun stuff like that, but that is all for work and practice.
Right.
That's what all those.
So you use bicycle cards now. Does bicycle have certain quality cards? Like they have your Walmart brand, and then
there's a big debate. I work a lot with gambling sleights and some pretty heavy-handed sleight of hand. Yeah. So I need a deck of cards that's going to act the way I want it to act. So I use Richard Turner Gold Seals because they are like casino quality playing cards, and they just happen to be printed with the standard bicycle back on them, the regular faces and everything. So they look like a cheap grocery store deck of cards, but they have a lot of quality control there, and they've been very, very good to me over the years. However, the regular ones you get at the store, the $2 ones, the standard decks, these these decks here, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times they're fine.
They're fine.
So you can use those, but do you trust those? You don't want to get to a show and open it up and realize, oh man, these were all printed. The backs are crooked, and they won't. The ferrules are very difficult to do, and the edges are all roughed up and everything. So I've never had, in God, I don't know how many years in my lifetime, I've probably opened up 2 or 3 bad Richard Turner decks, and I've opened up probably about 50 to 100 bad standard decks, but that's going through a lot of decks. So that's why I choose that.
Well, you do some amazing sleight of hand, and if anybody watching today haven't seen you perform, they're going to be thrilled to see you perform. And I have a little tape that I took from your website, which, by the way, is a wonderful website, and people can go and look at tons of great little YouTube clips and various some really handsome, beautiful pictures. But I want to share this one with our audience because I just think it's phenomenal, and I will never be able to figure out how one person does this. I am just wowed by that. And that is just an incredible piece of magic. You just dribble down, drop the cards, and then just reach in there and pull out.
Pluck it out, yeah. So for some reason, that one is just kind of the equivalent of a bullet catch. I call it bullet catch because it's the ace of spades, obviously, but something skillful on stage that has no explanation except skill, just skill.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. A lot of people ask how that works. They'll take a sign up for a lesson or something, say, hey, can you teach me that in a lesson? And then I say, well, there's no, I'm doing it. It's a thing. And it just comes from years and years and years of practice. Kostya Kimlet did something very similar on Fool Us, and he showed his practice of that. And it really is just being around a deck of cards long enough that you're just used to how it behaves, and you can do stuff like that.
No, I can't do stuff like that. No, you can do stuff like that.
I'll tell you, when I see Richard Turner do second deals, and they're like the greatest second deals I've ever seen in my life, and then he does it with his other hand, his hands, and you can see him do second deals right-handed instead of left-handed. It's like, am I watching?
Yeah, Richard Turner is amazing. Richard Turner, I think I saw a documentary not too long ago on him. It was on Netflix, I think, which is a great documentary if you get a chance to see Richard Turner's thing, because he's I think he's legally blind, is he not?
Oh yeah,
which
makes everything
even more confounding.
Yeah, he's done a classic, turn a negative into a positive. Some people would have that come along and say, oh, well, my career's over, but he just forged ahead. Really, really motivational and inspiring to see somebody do that.
Yeah, it is a great documentary, and I recommend it. I wish I could find the name. Maybe I'll post it later. Find the name of that documentary and tell you where people can find it. Hey, we have some pictures that kind of trace your career, and so I want to share them with the audience, and for you to maybe tell us a little bit about each of the pictures that we're looking at. This is a very young Jason.
All right, I'm not going to teach anyone how this works. It's a well-guarded secret in the magic community.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to zoom in.
Now, the funny thing is that I knew that when I was 7 years old, like the suit and tie and that James Bond look was the way I was going to go.
You did go that way. That's true.
I think I'm about 7 or 8 years old here, and I obviously didn't think that the fish line would show up in the photo. But I like what you're missing. Okay, so the fishing line is funny, but the look on my face is funny because it's like I'm really giving it the look serious, look at this,
It's a cute picture.
That was one of my first promo pictures. I didn't have Photoshop back then, so I couldn't.
No, when you sent it to me, I looked at it and I said, does he realize he can see that thread?
Very good.
And here is, this one is not. This is about the same time. Maybe this is from the same set.
It looks like, I think I remember this apartment actually where this was because I had a room where I would practice in. And yeah, I was like any other magician. I'd go to the magic shop. I found out that there was this place I could go to, and there was just like the most fascinating stuff on the walls. Like I'd just walk in there, and everywhere I looked, there was something amazing. And the guy behind the counter was an amazing magician, Peter Montecup, and he would show me these things, and my brain would just blow up. And one by one, I'd do my chores and save up a couple bucks here and there to buy a few new things. And I still have all of that stuff. Those rings in that picture, I still have. I was telling you earlier, the fishing line from that ace of spades, I still have that same
Whoa.
the 60-pound test.
It'll hold up that card easily enough, I guess.
It could hold up a lot of cards. Yeah, didn't want that to break.
Hey, I'm going to show this picture. What's going on here? This is not the next picture in here.
So at that age, right? So I'm getting into Magic and I'm learning about the props, and I have a handful of card tricks. I bought my first couple Magic books. I'm pointing over here as my library in case you can't see it. And I had lived at a library and I checked out some Magic books and things like that. So I was starting to get the bug, and then my mom found out that David Copperfield was coming to town. And I was like, again, same thing, probably 7, 8 years old or something, and went to this theater. And now I'm a magician. In my mind, I'm like, I've got 10, 20 tricks at home. I know how this stuff's done. And Dave Copperfield walks out on stage and gets into a cardboard box. And instantly the box just goes into a puff of smoke and he's gone. He disappears. And my mom taps me on the shoulder and says, look, and right next to me, like literally 3 seats down, is David Copperfield on a giant Harley in the middle of the audience, and I'm like, where do you buy that trick? What secret compartment does that? Or what little piece of tape or what, gimmicked thing, I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. And then for the rest of the night, he continued to do that type of stuff where I just had no explanation for any of this stuff happened. And to kind of come full circle, just before the pandemic, I was on tour out in California and Vegas and stuff for like 7 weeks or something. Just a normal, I didn't know it was going to be the end of the world. So we were just out there touring around, met up with my girlfriend in Vegas, and we went to see the show. And it was the first time I saw him since I was 7. And it was pretty emotional to think, like, I saw this guy. Last time I saw him, I was 7 years old or something. And I saw that, and that show made me want to be a professional magician. Like, I didn't realize that's something you could do, and at that age you are thinking, I want to grow up and be a doctor or grow up and be a fireman or what, kids want to be an astronaut and all that stuff. And when I saw that, I said, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And fortunately I had a very supportive mom that wasn't like, no, she was like, whatever you want to do. So I continued that journey, but I realized when I was watching him back in February that I did what I said I was going to do. It's really something else, and I got to thank him after this. I got to meet him and take the photo and actually thank him and be like, hey, I'm out on tour because of you. I've written a couple books. Thank you. I just wanted to say a big thank you to him. So, and then right after that, the world ended and the pandemic started. So that was my last tour that I did. Of
course, you wanted to be a magician. When I was a lad, I wanted to be an ice cream man. I had a weight problem. I wanted to be nothing more than an ice cream man. And but I did like magic, and I had a scotch and soda. And this was back 50 years ago. I spent my scotch and soda on ice cream. That's how bad I was. I had a hankering for ice cream.
I would have flipped burgers because I could eat them. That's great. Well, the children think in such amazing ways, don't they? So anyway, I was just happy that I got to see the guy that kind of started it all.
Yeah, talking about guys who got you, who influenced you. Darwin Ortiz was your mentor, I understand.
Yeah, because started out with all the props and everything that every kid does, and they're the visually amazing magic, they're colorful. Kids are really attracted to that type of stuff. But then I found out that with a deck of cards, I could do multiple things. Like it's not just this box that does one thing. A deck of cards, you have this wide variety of material you can do in different premises and showcase different things. It's not all just pick a card and I find it. So I didn't know it at the time, but I was finding out that a deck of cards was very practical. And I didn't even understand what that word would have meant in the magic context back then. So I started realizing that when I was out, I couldn't show people all of my cool tricks because they were home in a box somewhere. But when I had a deck of cards, I could do a bunch of card tricks. And so that's why I started to gravitate towards card tricks. And then I found, I think it was Hank Lee's Magic Factory was selling some magic DVDs at the VHS at the time of Martin Nash. And I bought the Martin Nash tapes just on a whim, like, all right, this guy does magic. And these card tricks were like the best card tricks I've ever seen, way above where I was at. So that told me, hey, wait a minute, like I don't have to do just card tricks. Sometimes I can do what this guy did and do a full card act. That's really cool. And then after that, I found, since I was looking at card, just DVDs that were in, or VHS that was related to card magic, that's when I found Darwin. I didn't know who he was. I just saw that, oh, it's nothing but card tricks. I'll order this. And saw that tape, and it was blown away again how amazing this material could look. I was fooled a million times, and I saw him doing things that weren't. I mean, he would take the aces and just shuffle the deck a couple times, and then deal all the cards out, and he'd get the aces. And I'm thinking, how can you shuffle the cards and have the aces end up in your hand? That's not possible. So I looked on the back of the DVD case, and I was going to call A1 Multimedia, right? And thinking like A1 Multimedia receptionist is going to answer the phone. And I just wanted to say, like, thank you for putting out such great material because I love this stuff. That's all. It's just like a happy customer.
Yeah.
And this guy answers the phone, and he says, hello, Darwin Ortiz. And I'm like, hello? I was starstruck, and it was him. And I just stammered for 5 minutes because it was like talking to some god on the phone, And then eventually we worked out, if you want to take a lesson, let's show up and take a lesson and see if you're fit to take lessons. And he was 8 hours away, so I had to drive down there. This is when I was 20, I think. And so, I started a big thing with him, and I take about 3 or 4 lessons a year, just all I could afford at the time. And eventually got in with this group of people. That's Tony Cabral with his back towards the camera. Boston's top, he's one of the top card guys in the world. Andrew Wimhurst. Andrew's okay. and then Darwin, and we'd have these big sessions with these big names and just talk about material. And it's really nice to have a group like this because you can share really heavy duty techniques and topics and also be real with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not at a convention. You don't know what, is the guy going to steal your stuff, or is he just going to say, oh, I think you should do it this way because that makes me sound smart,
Right.
But when you're with your close knit group there, Mike Vincent's in that group and everything, and you can share ideas and get honest feedback. And also when you talk to guys like that, they have wealth of knowledge. And you have like almost all the pieces there, 90% of it's all yours. And they give you this one last idea that's just brilliant, and everyone has such a vast amount of information about cards. So when you all get together, really good things are going to happen. And I love those guys to death. And I've been fooled by them more times than I can count. It's ridiculous.
I bet. Hey, this is not too long ago, and it looks like you're in a magic shop.
Yes, Tannins.
Whose is it?
This is Tannins.
Oh, Tannins.
So
okay.
Started out,
There's the
I had
banner.
Dreams of, or when I met Darwin, at least, I had these. I saw what he was doing, conventions around the world, and he had a whole bunch of books out, lecturing and doing shows, and he found a way to get the most out of magic instead of just doing a show here and there, or just teaching, or just writing a book. He was doing everything. And I wanted to follow in those footsteps. So after I had published a couple books, I started seeing those results. I got the lectures and conventions starting to come in. So that's one of my first lectures there at Tannins, which is right in New York City, just a couple hours from me.
Now you teach, yes? Oh, let's go back.
Yeah, I teach online. Well, I teach in person and online. But what the short of it is that I had never really actively tried to pursue teaching and advertise that I teach and all this other stuff, because I always assume some of the stuff I do is pretty difficult and I don't want to say proprietary, but like I have things that I want to make sure I do that don't kind of get out into the masses. And also I didn't want to be like a full-time teacher. I like to perform. That's where my soul, on stage, on the lights, with all the live audience, there's nothing like that feeling, So I would only teach students that had reached out to me. So I was kind of on the side. I let it come to me, and someone reach out to me and say, "Hey, do you teach?" And I'd ask them kind of what they're into and such, and would do it very casually here and there. And then the pandemic happened, and I just started. I had to do my lessons online now because people weren't coming to the house, or I would when I go down to New York City, sometimes I would line up a few students there, or they would come to me and I would teach them here. When the pandemic started, I started teaching those same students, but all online. And then I realized that I have access to teach anybody anywhere through the internet. So I threw a couple feelers out there on Instagram, and within like a week, I had like 4 new students because people were like, "Wait a minute, you teach?" And I was kind of like, "Well, yeah, I guess I do." And I had never advertised it before, so the following week, I got a few more students, and then I have about 60 students now. That I had 10 students. I only had a handful of kids. I didn't.
Yeah.
I can share some ideas and help them with their craft. But now, without the gigs, I was able to fill that time, and surprised how many people were interested in real heavy duty card techniques, stagecraft, character, things like that. It's not, and I find myself teaching a lot more things than, oh, here's how you do a pharaoh, or here's how you riffle. People want to know kind of broader picture stuff. And that made me feel great, because it doesn't matter if you're a coin guy or a kid's magician or whatever, you can still learn about booking gigs and character traits and how to handle hecklers. There's a lot of different things that we do that isn't just technical work with the deck of cards.
Is it when you're looking at people doing card sleights? Let's say you're teaching cards online. Is it easy enough to be able to tell them, oh, you got your thumb in the wrong spot? Sounds like it would be hard.
So the real thing, being in the same room and being able to walk around to the side and say, okay, so your finger's got to be on this thing here. But you don't just say, oh, well, the camera doesn't pick this up, I'm sorry. You just have to adapt. And if that means buying a second camera and having a different angle to help things, to show things. So in other words, if I know I'm teaching a particular move, I can set up a camera setup that is beneficial to that particular move, or take a video prior and say, I'm going to send you a video now. It's check your email. Let's watch it together, and you can see what I'm talking about. So it's just that you have to think a little differently online. And of course, you can come right up to the camera and show people, hold the deck like this, and I'm right up in front of the screen showing them where the fingers are and everything. So it works. It's not the best thing in the world, but it does work. And like I said, one of the big positives is I can teach students all over the world now. I never really thought of like that. I always thought if I'm going to New York, I'll look up the New York guys. If I'm going on tour to Chicago or Vegas, I'll look up those guys, ask them if they want to sit down for an hour. But now I just line them up and teach them right here.
Yeah. Some, I didn't know until we got together the first time, and you came to perform at the Parlor of Mystery, that you were quite a musician, and you spent many years playing your instruments.
Yeah, 11 years. I toured professionally for 11 years. So the secret's getting out. I was able to make a big splash just because of the timing of it. The internet was kind of just starting out when I was on the road. So I wasn't out there sharing selfies of me touring. But when, Instagram and everything started to blow up, I was doing magic full time. But from 1997, I started touring with like local bands and such. And then I just moved up the ranks. I started playing with some heavy duty New York guys. And then I got signed by Alligator Records. And we did, I was signed with Shamika Copeland, and we did like 5 years international touring around the whole world, fly dates, and basically living the rock star life. You just fly to some city, play some huge festival with 10,000 people, and pack up your bags and fly to the next one and do that. We did like 280 gigs a year. And the picture you just saw was B.B. King. So
that's B.B. King.
We toured along with some pretty big names, Jeff Beck, B.B. King. We were on the late night, back when it was late night with Conan O'Brien, when it was on NBC. We did that show. And here we are. This is in Colorado, I think. Oh, and I should mention, thank for sharing this picture. I was a keyboard player on the road, not a guitar player. So the guy in the very front here is Arthur Nielsen, a good friend of mine, and he taught me how to play the guitar.
And if people don't know, at the very beginning, when we had a little bit of blues behind a couple of clips of you in various performances, that was you on the guitar.
That was me. And not to show off, but I was also playing bass and piano and guitar and everything behind all the drums. The back.
Oh, did you really? Oh, thank you for telling me, because I did not know that. I thought that was just something you pulled out somewhere. Oh yeah,
so so there's me playing keyboards here with Shamika. I think we're in Telluride, Colorado in this picture, big festival, the Telluride Blues Festival that we have here. And so I played keyboards with them. And then when I got off the road, I quit the band to pursue magic full time. And so I still play, but just for me, just put on a track and shred the guitar a little bit or play some piano or organ or something like that. But as far as trying to make a career being a musician, I've kind of hung that up, and now I just perform, because this is a lot easier to show up to a gig. These, you know, I used to carry 2 keyboards, the Leslie amps, guitars, microphones. You know,
Yeah, big setup.
that ain't happening anymore.
No. Wait until you get a little bit older, and you're gonna want less and less and less.
I'm committed to that. I've stopped.
Hey, this looks like it's a studio picture, but is this?
Yeah, I did an album of my own. So I was with Shamika. We did about 3 or 4 albums. I was on one of them with Dr. John, and he's a New Orleans guy, just passed away a couple years ago. And while I was on the road with Shamika with her band, I also had my own. I played in 6 bands or something like that, and I had my own, and we did an album. And same thing as before. I played everything. I did the piano, the Hammond B3 organ, and guitar, and sang on it and everything, just to keep myself busy. So when I was on the road playing with Shamika, I'd come off the road. I was able to pick up some gigs for a couple weeks while I was home, go back out. Didn't matter where I was, I could find some band to play with. And so that was just a shot that made it onto the album cover.
Yeah, it's great. Hey, how's that deck behind you doing? Is there?
It's still sitting there, and no one's come anywhere near it. I just wanted to stress that has not moved at all. And by the way, do you have a number between 1 and 52 that means anything to you? Just name something random, doesn't make a difference.
17.
17. All right, so I'll write this down so we don't forget it.
Okay, 17. Very good.
And it'll be a while before we get to it, so I'll just put this right back there.
All right, 17. Very good.
All right, that's all.
All right. Let's look at some more pictures. Oh, now we're talking about some of the different kinds of performances that you do.
Yes. So when I made that transition from touring musician, rock star status, I decided to go into magic, make a living doing magic. But the gigs I was getting were only sleight of hand at cocktail parties, close-up gatherings, weddings, things like just basically a walk-around thing. And I was astonished that I could make just as much money as the whole band would make when I was in playing on the road. But it made perfect sense to me, because the event or the client has a certain amount of money for entertainment, and they give that money to the entertainment. But if the entertainment is made up of a 5-person band, well, they have to split it 5 ways. If the entertainment is made up of 1 person, I was getting the check, and I'm like, wow, all this is for me.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know, so exactly. And I didn't have to bring, it's just like this. Why haven't I been doing this ages ago? So I realized right away, like, wow, I can make 5 times the money doing this. But then I started to realize that it was kind of capped when you do these solo gigs. Weddings and small events like that were anywhere from $500 to $1,000 or something like that. And I thought that was great. My first corporate gig was like $700, and I was so happy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I found out, as I continued to grow up the food chain there, that trade shows was where the money was. And this is from a recent trade. This is last year, I think. And I just can't believe that what they pay me to walk around and do card magic and slip in business about the brands. But it just goes to show you that if you just stay at it and explore, you can find ways. The money's out there. You just have to find out how to do it. And you've been told by so many people, oh, you can't make it as a card magician. You have to do all the stuff. And that's just not true. That is just not true. You just have to be creative and find ways to do it.
Well, and frankly, if anybody sees your act, while you're just dealing with cards, there's so much other stuff going on. And there's a story that you're telling, and there's a character that you've developed that presents the magic. It really is something that it's not just to pick a card. I mean, that would be boring.
Yeah, the last thing I do is pick a card tricks, that's for sure. Now, in my whole show, there's never a moment where I have a card selected and then just try to find it. There's always so much more going on, and that's where the audience falls in love with you, not the craft. They like hanging out with you for the hour or whatever. Yeah. And is that me? That's me. Let me turn it off. So the audience enjoys that, and you become the most interesting person in the world that's tapped into this underground gambling world and the con artists and things like that. And there's a lot of exposure. There's a lot of jokes. Exposure in the sense that I'm going to teach how this particular card cheating method works and things like that. Now this here, one of the problems I had when I started doing these shows was I found myself turning down gigs when they would say there's 250 or 500 people there.
Sure.
I'd get a call from an insurance company or something. We're doing some sort of regional, we're bringing all of our managers from all across the country to this big thing. We're going to have some big party, talk about our money that we made this year and what our plans are for next year. And there's going to be, we'd like to hire you to come to your show. And I'd say, great, I'm all for it. And they go, where is it? And I'd say, or we go over the details. And then they say, oh, by the way, there's going to be 750 people there or something. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I only do, I do like 100 max, and that's pushing it.
Yeah.
And again, I realized, hey, wait a minute, why don't I put a big screen behind me? And that way I can do larger audiences. And I don't remember the year that was, but that was a big breakthrough for me too, because it gave me access to much, much bigger gigs. And then you can be proactive about that. Instead of just waiting for the gigs to come to you, you start calling big places and saying, hey, listen, I do this and it can work for a room of 1,500 people if you want. And that was kind of the last piece of the puzzle to seal in what I do. In other words, there's no more limitations for me.
Sure.
I'm keep knocking down barriers, and now I can do whatever I want now. Yeah. So that's just one of the first shows I did with one of those big screens.
And I know that sometimes you incorporate your musical skills into a show.
Yeah, this is a show we put together, a 2-man show. It was more of a variety act in the sense that there was an opening, and not an opening, but just two parts of the show.
Mm-hmm.
This happens. And we wanted some way to bridge the two parts together. So, Sean would build me up as this, amazing magic you're about to see, an amazing magician. And I'd come out wailing on the guitar for 10 minutes straight until he had to dude, can you not show off? Because the whole character, is just this crazy ego driven. Look at me, look what I can do. I'm the greatest in the world, and I'm going to back it up. That kind of character. So to come out just screaming on the guitar, that's credit. People can see you're really playing a thing. Like this kid can play, Yeah. So then Sean would always have to reel me back in and be like, can you not do that? All right, fine. I just wanted to let him know that I play guitar. Yeah. And then you'd sit down, and it was a great way to kind of wake everybody up in the room. So that was a lot of fun to do that show. But it just goes to show you, when you put a show together, have fun. There's no rules, man. Entertain the audience. Entertain them.
Yeah. Hey, now you do conventions as well. I know I saw you at I think it was Magic Live. I saw you last year.
Yeah, right. So I noticed that when I wrote the books, I was always interested in doing conventions, but I was like, how come no one ever calls me for a convention? I mean, this was 15 years ago. And it's like, oh, I don't have any material that I'm selling. So and also my career really leans towards lay people. My card magic is built for lay audiences, and I enjoy doing material that fools lay audiences, not creating material that just fools magicians, like a coin matrix with clear cards. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. It hurts to think about, but magicians will show other magicians that because you're right. And that stuff to me never made any sense. So I kind of stayed away from that group, and I didn't want to worry about fooling magicians. And when I wrote my books, I suddenly started getting the calls for lectures and the conventions. And that's one that I had done last year. It was one of my favorite conventions of last year, Tricks. And I, starting to meet some pretty big names in there. And when I was at MagicFest last year, I met David Blaine, and you're rubbing shoulders with these greats, so it's just a lot of fun. But back when I had met Darwin, there he was doing conventions and lectures and shows, and again, that full circle thing,
Sure. I recognize a few faces there. I see Christian Aplom. He's one of the Fat Brothers, and I see David Stone, and these are all big.
Yeah, Mario Lopez is in there. He's right behind me, and Eric Tate, the Fool Us guy, Brian Saint. There's a lot of, it's just a lot of fun. Wayne Houchin in the back there. So that it's always a lot of fun. And then remember I said I don't worry about fooling magicians. Well, over the last 5 or 6 years, I started putting together these little things that when I go to conventions, I can do it just for them. I don't publish my books, and boy, that stuff's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, actually. It's a lot of fun to fool a magician.
Yeah,
they're actually pretty gullible.
they recognize things, and I do that on purpose, so they recognize a certain thing, but it's not what they think it is, and it just leads them right down the path. And there you go.
This is
yep,
the Magic Castle, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my regular stops. Usually, when I go out on the road, I'm always on the road, right? Yeah. And what I try to do is I'll get a few dates and then build around it and kind of make it expansive about maybe a month or a month and a half or something. And this was from one of the last tours I did in February, just before the pandemic. And I was out for 7 weeks, I think. And I just had a great time at that castle. And that, by the way, not that I'm here's a shameless plug coming at you. That show at the castle there is going to be on my next DVD set.
Oh, is it? Great.
Not the explanations. I just included the show, but I did behind the scenes audio commentary. Like when you buy a DVD and you watch you can watch the director and the actors kind of talk about what happened. So I'm not talking mechanical stuff, the technique of the trick or anything like that. I'm just talking about all the stuff that might be more interesting than that, in the sense that what I'm really thinking about while I'm performing the character, this person, this line, what I said to this woman, why I say that line, how the character evolves over the show, and just little bits of business. But it's about a 20-minute show, and I did this kind of really interesting, and even while I was doing it, I was kind of like, man, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff up there, not the tricks,
Well, you weren't thinking about what you were having for dinner.
No, that's
okay. Some people get to that point.
I'm making sure that everyone in the audience is entertaining the show, and I'm also keeping track of certain people that I have a strategy about as I perform. And so I talk about all that, and the DVD is called Live in London. So there's a big lecture that I do in London, and then as a bonus feature, I've included that Magic Castle the set, and it's up on YouTube. It's one of the only shows I've ever put on YouTube, actually.
You mentioned your books a couple of times. I don't know if people recognize that you've published 2 unbelievably beautiful books, and I say beautiful because the photography in the book is just outstanding.
Well, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah,
I appreciate the compliments, and I knew right away that I wanted the material and the way the book looks to all be on the same page. You know what I mean? So I really put my heart into that, both books. But my first book, the effort there was like 5 years of nonstop writing to get that thing polished up. And I work with a guy that does photos for national magazines all over the country, and he does cars and motorcycles and things like that. He's worked with the Discovery Channel. And his name's Dino Petrocelli. And when you see one of those shots in like GQ magazine of a guy in a 3-piece suit getting out of a private jet, Dino does shots like that. And oddly, this funny story. I mean, when I was 15 years old, I was playing in a band with his brother.
Oh, no kidding.
Rocky Petrocelli was the drummer, And so as I'm getting into magic, I remembered that Rocky's brother was a photographer. And I didn't know that Dino's career had been blowing up, So when I went to Dino, he was like, "Oh, you're the piano guy." And the next thing you know, I'm looking at photos and I'm like, "Dude, this is real. These are like amazing, So Dino and I have a great relationship, and we have gone above and beyond to spend 15 hours in an abandoned warehouse an hour from here with a 20-person crew, where they bring in smoke machines and poker tables and poker chips. And we had a table just for donuts. That's how big the shoot was.
Oh, goodness.
We had the model, the beautiful Nina on the cover there. In the book, there's a couple spreads where we did this like poker game shoot. So we put the time in, but look what the result is.
But it's not just the covers and some of the sexy pictures in the book. I mean, the illustrations for the slides that you're teaching are really unbelievable.
I wanted to make sure that the cover, you know what I mean? It all has to be on the same level.
Yeah.
You can't have the outside look great and then somebody taking iPhone pictures in the middle of the book.
No, it's great.
So same thing. Jim Powers has all these national. When you read his resume, it's like he's worked with major celebrities, Samuel Jackson and everybody. So I used him to come in and get all the hands photos and everything, and he just did an amazing job. It looks like you're looking at a magazine, like a National Geographic magazine or something with the photography pulls you in. So we wanted to make sure that the book you could teach. The pictures weren't too artsy, but we wanted them to have enough of the artsiness to
make them appeal,
make the book look pretty. Yeah. So we didn't want to make it look like a textbook,
No.
So one of my inspirations for those books, both of them actually, are cookbooks. Really good cookbook, like a Williams Sonoma cookbook, has these amazing
beautiful
photos. Yeah, that make your mouth like, oh my God, I'm going to cook this thing. It looks amazing. And I wanted a card magic book that as you're going through it, just the photos alone are just like, wow,
Now, the first book is Confident Deceptions. That one's out of print, is it not?
That one out of print a couple years ago, yeah. And unfortunately, due to the contract, it's not coming back for any time soon. And that's just the way the business works. So the only way you can find that book is on the Green Monster, the Magic Cafe. Sometimes you'll see people listing it on there. You just see somebody posting and say, here's 40 books I'm getting rid of. So I've seen it show up on there a few times. People will text or email me to let me know, because I have students that are looking for it.
Uh-huh.
And then eBay. It's been on eBay maybe 5-6 times in the last year or so, and that's fair price. People bid on it, and whatever the book's worth, it goes for. So unfortunately, you can't get it. But the other one, Confident Deceptions is available in DVD form, but not the book.
Okay.
Game Changer is still available, still for sale, and
I get that at your website.
Oh, yeah. Everything that I've done, all my lecture notes, close-up mats, the lessons, the three-way mirrors, all that stuff's on my website.
Terrific. And you recently, I don't know if people know this, but you were Vanish Magazine. You were a cover and had a beautiful story in it, and a lot of those pictures that you took are used as illustrations to accompany the story. And this was in I think number 74 was, I think it was 1 month ago. Was it a month ago?
Yeah. Last month. September. Yep. And it was the first time that Paul started charging for the magazine. It's not very much at all. It's only a couple bucks a year.
Yeah, it's like $11 or something like that.
He made the jump. And more power to it. It's a beautiful magazine.
He does a great job. Yeah.
He should be charging for that. It's really one of the better ones out there. So I was honored to have the cover. And remember I told you about that warehouse that we all set up in and all that. That's the abandoned warehouse there.
Yeah, with the beautiful model.
Nina, you can see Nina right there to the left. She's a professional model from down in New York City. And her career blew up too, thanks to being in my book.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, she did an amazing job. We just wanted to create kind of that James Bond vibe, and she really helped pull that in. But boy, I can't stress enough, the
pictures are great.
We had to pay for some guy to come in with the poker we had to pay a guy that hosts poker games to come in and say, it's not a poker game. You're just going to set up over there in the middle of that warehouse. The guy's like, all right,
whatever. As long as they pay me.
Those photos last a lifetime, So we were really, really pleased with how that all came out.
They're really, really great. And I just included a couple of pictures that I took when you performed at our Parlor of Mystery. And as our audience can see, you played the guitar for us, and you got great reactions from the people who helped you on stage. You can see the screen in the background and the picture in the lower right. If anybody gets a chance to see you live, they should absolutely take advantage of it, because it's a fantastic show. Lots of laughs, and your character is one that if you couldn't do card tricks, you'd want to punch the guy.
Oh man, you should see the YouTube comments. Like it's one of my favorite things is people think that's the real me.
No, yeah, it's just a character, for goodness sake.
It's like I can't believe how many people really buy that and write to me and say like, your show shouldn't be all about you.
No,
like dude on the internet take time out of his day to say you demean your spectator and made fun of them. When you keep winning like that, it makes you look like an ass, and it's like, that's the point of
that's it.
Show. I mean, the guy's laughing, I'm laughing, the audience is laughing.
It's a great show.
And so I think they just here's what I think think that magic should be, in their mind, they have an idea of what magic should be. A wonderful story about when I was a child and my grandfather pulled a quarter out of my ear, and and they think that if it's not in that template, it's wrong.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why I named that second book Game Changer. You can make this stuff whatever you want it to be, as long as you're entertaining to your audience. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of success doing what I do, and no internet comment is going to make me change that. I really enjoy the show I've put together.
Oh, it's a great show. It's a great show. Hey, I stole way too much of your time. We're running over, and but I gave you a number. You have a deck of cards
right.
there.
17 back there. So let's if you want to go to the full screen here,
Yeah.
I've got a deck of cards. Now, what I meant about the not having the normal situation, you can't pick a card, obviously, but I just want to show they're all different. I come up to the camera and show you that we have 52 different cards here. And I'm going to back up a little bit, shuffle these up. We use this, and we'll do this. Now, can you see these cards getting mixed on the table?
Oh yeah, they're getting mixed.
All right. I want to give them a wash and keep all that. You know it's real now. Left green action here. And of course, after the cards are washed, they always have to be shuffled the way they do in a casino. We'll give them a couple casino-style shuffles like this. And of course, you run the cards, shuffle. And I don't know how often you play cards, but after the cards are shuffled, they always have to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll give them a mix, give them a cut. Do you want me to shuffle and cut these cards again? One more cut. What would you want?
They look pretty damn shuffled to me, but I'll take another cut.
Another cut. Now remember, if you had said that you didn't want to cut, card would be the Jack of Spades. That's actually one of my favorite cards. Funny story about that. Get to that later, but you said you want one more cut.
Yeah, one more cut.
This is the card we'll use. Remember, you could have had the Jack of Spades, but in this case, looks like
It's the Two of Hearts.
good. Now, the funny thing about that Jack of Spades, just as a side note, is it is my favorite card in the deck, because when I was a kid, I went into that magic shop, and he asked me if I wanted to see a trick, and I named any card that I wanted. He put a deck of cards in a glass, and one card by itself starts popping up out of the deck, and he wasn't anywhere near the thing, and it was a Jack of Spades. I will never forget that moment. So that's why that's my favorite. But in this particular case, we have the Two of Hearts as the card.
Yeah.
Just remember that if you didn't change your mind, you would have had a different card. So what we reached in this particular time is the 17th position in the deck, and you said the Two of Hearts. So you could have chosen any card you wanted, Two of Hearts, any number out of 52, 17. Now that's been sitting there since the beginning of the show, right?
It has. Yes.
May I touch it for the first time? Is that okay?
Go right ahead.
Make sure this stays in frame here. Go back down to this. 17, right?
That's right. 17.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You know, there's just some things
man.
that have no explanation whatsoever. I just don't know how that is even possible. It's too early in the morning for this.
That was indeed beautiful. That was wonderful. Thank you for doing that. That was good.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a lot of fun to talk about this stuff and share my journey through it. And also, I remember being a kid and seeing clips of Mike Vincent, you know, and him talking about what he's doing. I'm thinking, here's this guy going around the world. He's performing in Austria next week for some corporate event, and then he's flying down to Argentina to do a convention. I'm thinking, like, man, that's so. I want to do that, you know. So if there's any, young aspiring card guides out there that are watching this that have been told those things, like, oh, you can't make a living doing magic, or you can't make a living doing card magic, you know, that kind of stuff. Just do your thing, you know. And if you have some sort of crazy idea for what a magic show should be, and it's not in the norm,
All power to you. Go for it.
do what you want to do. Make it work. Don't listen to people that are telling you, oh, you can't do that or you can't do this. So if someone's out there listening that is inspired by it, then it's it. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve.
Well, thanks again, Jason. It was grand spending some time with you, and I can't wait to see you again live, the real up
Yeah, of
close.
course, it'll happen.
Can't wait soon. I hope
it's just a matter of time, and we'll be back out there, and that's all you can do. Life's a series of adjustments, and we'll just ride it out, and everything will be back to fine.
Fantastic. Thank you very much again, and hope to see you soon.
All right, I'll see you. Bye.
Bye now. Hey, wasn't that amazing? Wasn't he amazing? That was one incredible piece of magic that he did for us. And I just want to get to if you want to get to see Jason, go to his website. There's more more Jason there. Let's see, his website is, there it is, cardmagicbyjason.com. So so do go there. He's got lots of YouTubes there. He's got some of those fantastic photographs that are in the book, in his books. You can look at those too. They were great, and you'll have a good time there. And of course, if you are interested in card magic and want to learn card magic, you can get his book and some of the other props that he sells. Hey, before we go, we had a fake news or a fact question for you.
Fact or fake news? Fact or fake news? Fact or fake news?
Card magician Darwin Ortiz, a mentor to our guest today, dropped out of NYU Law School to pursue card magic full-time and supported himself for a time by playing blackjack using card counting techniques. Was that fact or fake news? And guess what?
Hello there, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that's a fact. It's a fact here in California, it's a fact in New York, and places like this. It's a fact.
Yes, that was a fact. It's a fact. He really did. He really did support himself for a little while, counting cards and playing blackjack, and we're so glad he did. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Before we go, I mentioned earlier that you could win a prize, and the prize that you can win is this. This is my book test, and I'm going to give you some information about that right now. Take a quick look at this. So there you go. You want to win a copy of the original Celebrity Presage? Just subscribe to our channel and send me an email. Well, that's the end of our show. Next week we have Michelle Huat from Canada, from Quebec. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you're going to tune in 11 o'clock next Monday. So hope to see you then. Until then, enjoy the magic in your life.